Hello, this is Anant here and welcome to MaverickEduCor, your one-stop solution for everything related to PTE. Make sure to contact us on the WhatsApp number or on the email ID mentioned right below for one-on-one assistance. Now, without a further ado, let's go ahead and see today's video. Welcome to part 2 of the Speaking Masterclass. In today's video, we will be discussing the rest of the 3 questions which are one of the most important questions in your speaking module, starting with Retell Lecture, Summarize Group Discussion, and Respond to a Situation. So far in the Speaking Masterclass, we have covered Read Aloud, Repeat Sentence, and Describe Image. Now let's go ahead with Retell Lecture, which is the 4th question of your PTE exam. Let's look at some quick facts first. You will have 2 to 3 questions and you will get marks for content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. As this is an integrated task, you will get marks for speaking and listening, which is approximately 11 to 12 marks each. On the other hand, you will have to listen to the audio. After you listen to the audio, you will have 10 seconds of preparation time, and post that, you will have 40 seconds to respond to a lecture. Now let's look at a demo for Retell Lecture. Before that, let's look at the instructions. It says you will hear a lecture. After listening to a lecture, you will have 10 seconds to prepare, and after that you will have to speak into the microphone and retell what you heard from the lecture in your own words, and you will have 40 seconds to give your response. See here, you will have 40 seconds to give your response. This is what PTE says for Retell Lecture question. It's time to listen to the lecture. I will be starting the lecture starting in 3, 2, 1.
Illegal mining, by definition, refers to the extraction of minerals without legal authorization or adherence to safety and environmental standards. Environmentally, it causes severe destruction. Forests are cleared, soils are eroded, and water bodies are polluted with chemicals such as mercury and cyanide. These pollutants threaten aquatic life and contaminate drinking water sources, ultimately endangering human health. Socially, illegal mining exploits vulnerable groups, often involving child labor and unsafe working conditions. It undermines community welfare by increasing poverty, crime, and conflict in mining areas. Economically, it deprives governments of tax revenues and damages legitimate industries, while the cost of restoring degraded land becomes a long-term burden on national resources. In conclusion, illegal mining is not merely an environmental issue, but a multidimensional problem with far-reaching social and economic consequences. Tackling it requires stronger regulation, community awareness, and sustainable alternatives for resource extraction.
While listening to the audio, this is the notes that I've captured in the form of phrases. I've written about 8 to 9 phrases over here. So I will be using these phrases to come up with a response. Let me start off with a response in 3, 2, 1. The lecture was about illegal mining of minerals and rare earth materials. It caused a lot of destruction to the forest and it eroded the soil. Additionally, the lecturer added that endangering of human life and entire ecosystem by illegal mining. On the other hand, it involved child labor and unsafe mining conditions, though it is economically not viable in the long term. The lecturer concluded by saying it is a multidimensional problem and it must be tackled effectively for resource extraction legally. Stop. I would immediately click next. So this is how I would come up as a response for the Retell Lecture question. Let's move on to Summarize Group Discussion, which is one of the important questions after Describe Image. It is second in line in terms of priority in the speaking module. Here, you would get 2 to 3 questions in your exam, and the skills that are assessed are content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. You would get marks for speaking and listening as it is an integrated question. You will approximately get 17 to 18 marks for speaking and 18 to 19 marks for listening. On the other hand, the audio or the prompt would be for approximately 3 minutes, and after that you will get 10 seconds of preparation time. Once the preparation time completes, you will listen to a beep sound. Post that, you would have to speak for up to 2 minutes as a response for summarized group discussion question. Let's look at a demo for summarized group discussion question. Before that, let's look at the instructions. PTE says that you will have to hear 3 people who are discussing about a topic. After their discussion ends, you will have 10 seconds of preparation time, post which you will listen to a beep sound, and after that, you will have to start responding about the group discussion that you just heard, and you will have 2 minutes to give your response. So these are the basic set of instructions for summarized group discussion. I'll be playing the audio starting in 3, 2, 1, and go.
3 students are discussing the ongoing concerns about the food quality in our university hostel's shared kitchen.
Honestly, the main issue for me is that the food feels repetitive and uninspiring. The same food combination comes up so often that eating in the mess feels more like a duty than a meal. For students who stay in the hostel long term, it can get mentally exhausting to eat food that lacks both flavor and variety.
That's true, but beyond monotony, hygiene is my bigger concern. I've seen oil being reused to fry multiple dishes, and vegetables sometimes smell stale even before cooking. Several students in the girls' hostel have complained of stomach aches recently, and since the kitchen is shared, the boys face the same problem too. This isn't just boring, it's unhealthy.
I agree hygiene is important, but I think we need to consider the practical side too. Feeding hundreds of students from a single kitchen daily is no easy task. With such scale, some problems are bound to happen occasionally. I don't think the staff deliberately serves bad food. Maybe it's just the pressure of the workload.
I can understand pressure, but when the same complaints repeat week after week, it no longer feels accidental. For example, the food is often half-cooked, and are either overly oily or too watery. If students are paying hostel fees, the least we deserve is food prepared with care and consistency.
Exactly. And when students lose faith in the hostel food, they start ordering from outside. That increases expenses unnecessarily and leads to wastage of mess food. If the kitchen simply ensured freshness and balanced meals, most students would happily stick to the hostel food instead of spending extra money elsewhere.
But ordering outside is worse in the long run. It promotes junk food habits and leads to health issues. Instead of pointing fingers constantly, I feel a better approach would be creating a feedback system where students can directly share their concerns, and the staff can adjust accordingly.
That makes sense. If both hostels had representatives who regularly interact with the kitchen staff, students would feel heard, and staff would get specific feedback. Transparency in menu planning and cooking methods would reduce complaints. What students really want isn't luxury, it's safe, hygienic, and consistently edible food.
And if that kind of system is set up, the relationship between students and the kitchen could improve. Instead of constant conflict, it would turn into collaboration. Both hostels depend on the same kitchen, so improving it benefits everyone equally.
Yes, and collaboration ensures accountability on both sides. If students track issues and improvements, and the kitchen staff responds promptly, we can finally move past the cycle of endless complaints. The goal is simple: decent food that supports our health and studies without unnecessary stress.
This is what I have written down in the form of notes about the summarized group discussion question. I will have 2 minutes to respond to this particular question, and I'll be starting the timer in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. The discussion was between 3 students about hostel food issue. Initially, the speaker 1 told that the main issue is about repetitive food which is mentally exhausting to eat over and over again. Here, the speaker 2 agreed with speaker 1 telling that they have been served with stale food which is unhealthy to eat and half-cooked food too. On the other hand, speaker 3 had a different perspective about this issue, where he mentioned that if you cook for hundreds of students, there could be some problems that are bound to happen. The speaker 2 agreed with speaker 3, telling that she understands the pressure and the problem, and it is no longer an accident. Here, speaker 1 told that there are many students who are ordering food from outside, and this seems to be the only option. On the other hand, speaker 3 said that he agrees with speaker 1, telling that it causes a lot of health issues if you eat outside food, which is nothing but junk. Hence, the speaker 1 told that if the healthy food is being prepared in hostel, there is no need to order food from outside. Now, all the three speakers agreed, telling that there has to be a feedback system in place where the chefs will receive feedback about this situation and they can avoid such issues. Now, speaker 2 said that if students need safe and edible food, they would have to give transparent feedback to the chefs where they can have these endless amounts of complaints. Hence, the discussion was about the food issues in hostel. And stop. To conclude the demo for summarized group discussion, this was my response, where I spoke for about 95 seconds. I was still left with 25 seconds. The ideal duration that you need to speak for summarized group discussion question would be about 90 to 100 seconds, which is more than sufficient. But you need to include the content from the group discussion. That is the primary objective of summarized group discussion question. Let's move on to the last question type in the speaking module. Respond to a situation. Here, you will get about 2 to 3 questions in the PTE exam, and they will measure based on content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. You will approximately get about 11 to 12 marks in respond to a situation question type. Now, you will have 10 seconds to prepare, and after that you will listen to a beep sound, post which you will have to 40 seconds to come up with a response. Let's look at a demo for respond to a situation. As the name of the question goes, respond to a situation. It means there will be a situation and you will have to respond to it accordingly. Now let's look at the instructions. PTE says that you will have to listen and read about the description given over here, and you will have 30 seconds to do it. Post which you will have 10 seconds to prepare about the situation and then come up with a response where you will have 40 seconds to respond to that particular situation. So these are the basic set of instructions given by PTE. Let's proceed with the demo. I will be starting to play the audio in 3, 2, 1.
With the next semester approaching, you need to seek guidance from your respected professor regarding elective selection. You wish to understand how the electives align with your academic interests, career goals, and overall development. You would need to approach the professor and seek his guidance. What all would you ask him?
Hello Professor, good morning. I'm here to request you about few options that I need to make on the electives for this academic year. Please let me know what I choose would align with my academic interests, career goals, and overall development. I have 2 subjects in mind. One is trading and the other is investment banking. Please let me know which would be of great help during my academic year. I would request you to take some time before I set up another meeting with regards to this topic. Thank you so much, Professor. I will be back in few days. Stop. So this is how you can respond to a particular situation. You can come up with varied answers. As you can see, I was still left with 4 or 5 seconds. I spoke for about 30 to 35 seconds overall. Now, if you can respond like this, then PTE will award you good amount of marks because you are sticking to the context of the situation only and you are not deviating from it. You can come up with any response you want only about that particular context. It's time to look at the golden rules for summarized group discussion, retell lecture, and respond to a situation. Now, coming to the generic rules of speaking module, I would request you to go and look at the part 1 of the speaking masterclass video. You will get to know all the details about the generic rules for speaking module. With this, you would have to adhere to another set of rules, which is content and fluency, which has to be given the highest priority, especially for these 3 questions. Now, let's begin with Retell Lecture. First and foremost, you need to employ listen, write methodology to capture good amount of notes. Additionally, you need to capture about 7 to 8 phrases from the lecture that you listen. On the other hand, you need to speak for about 30 to 35 seconds with the help of the template structure, which will help you to maintain your fluency while responding to a Retell Lecture question. Let's move on to the next question, summarize group discussion. First and foremost, you need to employ listen, write methodology to capture notes, something similar to Retell Lecture. Legibly segregate speaker 1, speaker 2 and speaker 3. Correlate between these 3 speakers. Don't just state facts. The last one is, if you can speak for 80 to 100 seconds, then I'm sure nobody can stop you from getting superior scores, but you need to maintain fluency, pronunciation and the content from the summarized group discussion question that you have just heard. Let's move on to respond to a situation. You need to follow these set of rules if you want superior scores in speaking. First is always address yourself as I while responding. That is a primary aspect of this question. The next thing is understand the situation first. There will be questions. You need to understand the situation given in that question and you need to come up with a formal response. Next thing is speak for about 30 to 35 seconds as a response. So if you can follow all these set of golden rules, I'm sure you would get superior scores in the speaking module. Alright folks, we have come to the end of this video. Let's conclude part 1 and the part 2 of speaking masterclass with marks distribution. Remember, in speaking module, describe image gives the highest number of marks, followed by summarize group discussion, repeat sentence, retell lecture, respond to a situation and read aloud. If you want superior scores, you would have to get 88 marks, and for proficient scores, you would have to get 68 marks in your PTE exam. With this, I'm signing off for today and I wish you all the very best for your exam. And don't hesitate to contact us on the WhatsApp number or on the email ID mentioned right below. We will be there to help you with one-on-one assistance. Thank you so much, folks.